All right, front view. You didn't sway too much, no. All right. Let's look at our tour player. This is Rory right here. There's the center of his chest that's set up. Okay? Yep, that's the sternum is set up. Impact. See how much forward the center of his chest is at impact than it was at setup? Well, he's turning through. I mean, he's... Yes, sure. So, if you were going to hit a baseball or throw a baseball or anything like that, say throw a ball, and this is kind of interesting. When I have people throw a ball on video and I record them, most guys that aren't avid baseball players, they don't pick it up and throw it like a major league ball player. Like they think they do, they don't. I mean, they don't look like they just don't. What we would like to see is when we get up and we throw our ball, we turn our body kind of with our arm here, right? Now, if I think about it, I can't do it. It gets all herky-jerky, right? So that's all he's doing through there. Let me show you, something about in your finish here, though. See how in your finish your hips are in between your feet? See that? And in Rory's finish, his hips are going to be on top of his front foot. Yes, or even more specifically, his hips have moved on top of his front leg. Since he is moving his hips onto his front leg, that gets everything moving forward a little bit. See how his sternum is moving forward? Right? So back here again, set up. Watch that right hip moving over. It's let's not say laterally, because imagine this. Imagine if there was a hinge on his hip right here. Right there is a hinge. Right? That's a rotation. Does that make sense? It's actually a rotation. When you say, and here's why I'm stopping you, I don't want you to go out there and think lateral and slide your hips forward without letting them rotate at all. Does that make sense? So actually what happens a little bit is your left hip, so your leg socket in your left hip right here, it may move a little backwards through impact. See your left hip moving back a little there? And that's why at the end of the swing, we don't see your hip on top of your left leg, so we don't see your right foot, your heel, all the way up in the air like Rory's is. I'm micro explaining something that's not that that big of not that complicated. So we want like that right pocket to move on top of your left leg. And the benefit of that, though, let's talk about why. Who cares? Why do you do that? Well, two things. One, if your hips stay between your feet, think about your swing path where your hands and your arms are going to go on your shoulders. Okay? And the other thing is, Rory's sternum moves forward. That helps him hit the ball before the ground. Let's see what your sternum is doing in impact. So set up. Yep. So your sternum isn't really moving forward through impact. Your sternum is about where it started to set up. So the low end of your swing is going to have a hard time getting ahead of the ball. And a contributing factor of this is that you're not getting your hips moved on top of your left foot through your swing. Does that make sense? Of course, of course. But number one, alignment. This is the number two thing. And you can do it. I mean, you come this far, you can definitely do it. So all the other stuff you've been thinking about, set it aside. And let's just get that right hip moving on top of your left hip. That right pocket on top of your left hip, I should say.
What's that going to give me? You're saying I'll hit tendency to hit the ball less fast.
Yes, you hit the ball, then the ground, and your swing path will be less out to in. Now here's the problem, though. If you line up way right and you don't know it, you're not incentivizing yourself to do it the right way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm going to send this to you too. We're going to work on that.
Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for more instructional videos.